Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're going to talk about a simple little product that can save you a ton of money. I mean, hundreds, maybe even thousands of dollars in engine repairs. Yep, we're talking about fuel stabilizers. By the end of this, you'll know exactly what you need to do to protect your engines when you put them away for storage.
So, has this ever happened to you? You put your boat or your motorcycle, maybe even just the lawnmower away for the winter. Spring rolls around, you go to fire it up, and nothing. Just a sad little sputter, or maybe, even worse, just dead silence. Well, 9 times out of 10, the culprit is bad fuel. And you might be really surprised at how fast that happens. We're talking about just 30 days. Seriously. According to the experts, the typical shelf life of the gasoline we use today is only about a month. After that, it starts to break down chemically, and that's when it can really start to wreak havoc on your engine. So what's actually going on inside your fuel tank while it's sitting there for months? I mean, it's not just sitting there patiently waiting for you to come back. Oh no, there's a whole chemical reaction happening. It's kind of like food going bad. The fuel literally goes off. Oxygen gets in there and starts reacting with the fuel, creating these nasty, sticky, gummy deposits and varnish. And this stuff? It's an engine killer. It clogs up all those tiny, super precise passages in your carburetor and fuel injectors. And trust me, those are parts you do not want to pay to clean or replace. Okay, but here's the good news. There's a really simple scientific fix that stops this whole messy process before it can even get started. It's all about putting up a protective shield for your fuel. You can kind of think of a fuel stabilizer as a bodyguard for your gasoline. It's a chemical additive that's packed with things like antioxidants and detergents. The antioxidants are the key. They slow down that whole destructive oxidation thing we just talked about. And the detergents? Well, they make sure that if any gums do happen to form, they can't stick to your important engine parts. So how much of a difference does this stuff really make? Well, think about it. Untreated fuel can go bad in just 1 month. But if you add a quality stabilizer, you can keep that same gas fresh for up to 24 months. That is 2 full years of protection. All right, so you've got the solution right there in your hand. But listen, just buying the bottle isn't the whole story. You've got to use it correctly. It's absolutely crucial if you want to get all the protection it offers. Following these 5 steps is the key to success, and you really want to pay attention to steps 2 and 4. See, adding the stabilizer before you fill up the tank is a big deal. That's what makes sure it mixes in perfectly. And then running the engine for a bit, that's vital. That's how you get that treated fuel circulated through the entire system, the lines, the injectors, everything. It protects every single component. Okay, so you go to the auto parts store and you're standing in that aisle, and there are just rows and rows of bottles. It's easy to get a little overwhelmed, right? So let's clear up a really important difference that you need to know about. Here's the most important thing to remember. Stabilizers are for prevention, cleaners are for the cure. So a stabilizer stops all that gunk and varnish from ever forming in the first place. A cleaner, on the other hand, is what you use to try and dissolve all that stuff after it's already causing problems. So you always use a stabilizer before you put your equipment away. And here's a quick rundown of some of the popular products out there. As you can see, they're not all the same. They're made for different jobs. You've got some like STA Buell storage that are built for super long-term storage. Then there are marine formulas that have extra stuff in them to fight corrosion and water, which is a huge deal in a boating environment. So picking the right one just comes down to what kind of engine you have and how long you're going to store it. But what happens if you decide to just skip this step? Just roll the dice? Well, there's a case study from a fishing charter company that gives us let's say, a brutally clear picture of what that gamble can cost you in the real world. Check this out. $380. That was the average repair cost for each engine where the crew just forgot to add stabilizer before they put the boats away for the winter. The fuel went bad, it clogged up the carburetors and injectors, and bam, a big fat bill from the mechanic. And the direct repair cost was only half the problem. The real kicker? The company lost about $2,200 in revenue just because those boats were sitting in the repair shop instead of being out on the water when the fishing season kicked off. Ouch. I mean, when you put the numbers right next to each other like this, the choice is just crystal clear. You've got a $12 bottle of stabilizer on one hand versus a $380 repair bill on the other. And that doesn't even count the lost time. The return on that tiny investment is it's undeniable. Now look, to be completely fair, stabilizers are amazing, but they're not magic. They do have their limits. If you're talking about really, really long-term storage, like more than 2 years, or if you've got some priceless vintage machine, A lot of experts will tell you the safest bet is just to drain the fuel system completely. And they definitely can't fix a fuel system that's already a mess with water or sludge. At the end of the day, this isn't just about maintenance, it's really about reliability. One of our sources put it perfectly. It's about making sure your season kicks off with a reliable roar, not a disheartening cough. It just means that when you're ready to get out there and have fun, your machine is ready for you too.
And really, that brings us right back to the final question. Is a $12 bottle of this stuff worth protecting an engine that cost you thousands of dollars? When you weigh that tiny cost against the massive headache of expensive repairs and lost weekends, the choice becomes pretty simple, doesn't it? We hope this explainer has helped make that decision a total no-brainer for you.